Shaking folks, back with another reaction, back with some more acid-techno. And we're going to listen to a tune on not the most recent AAA, Acid Artist in Action, a Stay Up Forever sublabel, but the second to most recent. Either way, it's by Acerbic, which is another name for Anthony Wilson. And people who know acid-techno and techno going back decades will know that Anthony Wilson, long known as Ant. I have a number of tunes by him under that name, including a couple he did with Nick Grader, the very famous Panic Underground, which I have the original of, but also the remix vinyl they did later, which I'm very fond of, as well as like Strontium 90, which I think was on Smitten. But yeah, I've been a big fan of his acid-techno, and my understanding is that like his tunes at like Kinetic Studio, James Kinetic, and that was like one of the hubs of acid-techno for many years. I don't think Kinetic Studios is around anymore, at least to the best of my knowledge. Again, out here in California, and not knowing everybody in the scene, I do know some people, and you know, more over the last decade or so than before that. But the point is, yeah, not sure on the status of that studio or the output of various folks. But I will say, I know that Ant, after seemingly making far fewer tunes of acid-techno going into the late aughties, early 2010s, began producing a Chicago loop, and I think it was more straightaway techno, like, you know, warehouse techno. And while I do listen to some of that, people will know I'm a big acid guy, so most of the techno I listen to has a 303 in it. It's mostly acid techno. So I don't know too much of the Chicago loop stuff, but I was talking to Chris, and I was talking about, you know, I've been trying to keep up with the whole AAA series, and Chris has helped me do that, and he was like, oh, so what's the last one you had? I was like, oh, 10. He's like, oh, so the next one for you is 11. I'm a huge fan. And he was basically saying he thinks this is one of the best AAAs. So looking forward to it. You know, a recommendation from Chris like that must be taken seriously. And it's called the XXX EP, and we're going to start with the title tune, XXX. So shout out to Anthony Wilson and his new guys as Acerbic. Shout out to all the tunes he made as Ant. And again, even though I don't know the Chicago loop stuff, I think it is spoken of very highly, so shout out to that as well. But here we go. This is Acerbic. The track is XXX, and it's from the EP of the same name on Acid Artist in Action, or AAA, and it's 2023. Whoa. I like it a lot, and I feel like there's some TikTok tunes which would mix well with it. TikTok, me, Jamie Taylor, R.I.P. measure builds. Oh. I like that. I like it when it double times that clap snare. I like the edgy dissonance that one subtle layer brings. Acid is just like a fire hydrant, just like what? Again, I love a track that it's rhythmic, it's in the measures, it's logical, it makes sense, but it still somehow finds a moment or a way to surprise you after hearing thousands of techno tunes. I love a tune that can do that, and I was not prepared for that break. It's a very wild and untamed acid-techno track. I'm getting that right. That's a cool tune, and one that definitely feels a bit outside the box. Thought it was gonna end right there. A longer outro. It on the way out the door. Yeah, it's cool. Again, I have no idea the nature the Chicago loop material in terms of, you know, whether it was more like straightaway warehouse techno, whether it was more experimental, I'm not sure. But again, that's like, you know, it's London style acid techno, but there's some moments there where it's doing some things that you don't often hear. Certainly that major break where it slowed everything down, warped the acid, and then let it fire. But there's some moments before that, some of like pause moments, and there's some moments where it feels a bit more like, I don't know, European acid techno, and that it's, you know, a bit less like cheeky samples and like, you know, like rocking like build up and drops, and it was more like this exploration of acid techno sounds that were evolving. Like again, they would start low like acid transformers, and it would move a bit high and a bit more liquid, and then like by the end of that measure it'd be like, you know, bubbling, very liquidy and like high pitched. And so the constantly dynamic nature of the acid work itself was very notable. So shout out to Ant, shout out to, or Acerbic, I suppose, and shout out to Chris for bringing this to my attention. Again, helping me just keep up with the full run of the AAA releases, and again, 12 will be surely not too far behind. But I'm excited to get this, and we'll go through the different tracks. And again, I mean, even the Ant stuff, fair to say, you know, it's not an artist that I know as well as Chris's work, certainly as well as the Geezer. You know, I mentioned before, Geezer is one of my very favorite producers, been following him very closely for a long time. But yeah, I mean, even someone like DDR, who his work, I know it, but maybe not quite as well as, say, the Geezer or Chris. I still probably have multiple more DDR records than I do Ant records. So bottom line, it'll be cool to, you know, see what this producer that I do have some of his vinyl going back decades, but it's cool to catch up and see what acid techno is being made today. And fair to say, it's really cool that a couple people who, you know, may have gravitated toward more straightaway techno and, you know, different types of electronic music, not London acid techno, including not only Ant, from what I can tell, and Henry Cullen, Dave the drummer, who again was very much away from acid techno for several years, and now at the very least under the Secret Hero name is once again making like crazy, like cracking acid techno with tempo and attitude. So again, shout out to the Godfathers who continue to grace us with acid techno records. Shout out to my cat, who is hugely fond of acid techno, including when she's sleepy as now. Do let me know what you think. I'll see you next time. Peace.